Welcome back to Sacred Threads. This video is dedicated to all of the sock knitters and those that are working on cute little stuffed amigurumi type projects through knitting. The Magic Cast On is a really great way to start projects. As you can see from this little work in progress that I'm showing you, the top of this stuffed animal's head is very smooth, and it's cast on with Judy's Magic Cast On. So you tie a slip knot around one of your knitting needles, and you want to put the tail in coming out the top between your index and middle finger, and then you have the working end of the yarn around your thumb. So you'd hold this, I'm a continental knitter, so I hold it in my left hand. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the yarn that's at the top and loop it around the bottom. And then we're going to take the yarn at the bottom and loop it around the top, back to front, each time going between the needles. You're going to alternate that back and forth for as many of the stitches as you need cast on. So your first stitch is that slip knot, that slip stitch. And then the others are just figure eights. You take that top and go over the bottom needle between the two, and then take the bottom piece of yarn around the back, over the top needle and in between. Sometimes I falter because I have bifocals and sometimes it's hard to see that. Sorry if I get out of screen a little bit here. But you go back and forth, over and around, top yarn over the bottom needle, bottom yarn over and around the top needle. So you do that as many times until you get the number of stitches cast on that you need. Okay, and I'm counting these here just to make sure that I've done the appropriate number. Oh, I need one more on the bottom. There we go. Okay, so I have my start there, and then I'm going to turn it, and this is using the magic loop method. So you're kind of getting a 2-for-1 how-to here. So I'm going to take these and turn them so that my bottom needle I'm going to slip out, and that will go in my right hand. My tail yarn that I'm not using, I'm going to wrap around the working yarn to kind of anchor that in place. And then I'm going to knit the stitches across the top. So this first stitch, I'm going to knit just the normal way. And that kind of provides the anchor point for the start of my project. But then you'll notice when you use the Judy's Magic Cast On, the knit stitches, the legs of them are reversed. So rather than knitting in the front loop, just for this first row to set it up correctly, you're going to knit through the back loop to get those first stitches knitted correctly and set up for the rest of your project. So you're just going to go through and knit. I had to edit out the part where I kept missing the the yarn because, again, I think I need my bifocal prescription updated. Anyway, so we're going to go through and knit across and complete that, and then I'll show you how to slide. See, I missed that one too. We're just keeping it real here. There we go. Okay, a couple more to go. And then we're going to slip it back and forth. Now I will use double pointed needles often when I'm knitting socks, but that's a lot to manage. You know, you've got 5 needles, double pointed needles. It's kind of easy for things to slip off the end. So a lot of people prefer the magic loop method, and that's kind of what this is. And so you see you've got a nice little start there. It's nice and even. You've got the purl side, and it just looks like one piece of fabric. So you're just gathering it in. So we're going to slide the top needle back into starting position. So we've turned it. We're going to get it set up to start knitting the other stitches. Pull the bottom needle and get some slack. And we're going to knit through the back loop just like we did on the first row. And remember, we're only knitting through the back loop. Whew, that was out of frame, sorry about that. We're only knitting through the back loop on this first row, and then you'll do what your pattern tells you to do. But this way we avoid having some of those twisted stitches that would make the seam kind of stand out in the fabric that you're knitting. This is a great way to start when you're doing a toe-up sock pattern. You do not want to use Judy's Magic Cast-On when it calls for a provisional cast-on. You would have to adapt the pattern, and that's more of an advanced skill. But a lot of patterns these days for socks, for other things like this little stuffed animal that could be, it's kind of basic. It can be a giraffe, it can be a unicorn, it can be a little horse, it can be whatever. But look at what a nice result that gives. And so what I'll do in a future episode is I'm going to show you how to work in short rows, because that's a skill that you'll need both for socks and for the amigurumi type knitting projects. When you do those short rows and you wrap and turn, and then you go back and you pick up stitches. So I hope this was helpful to you. It's a very helpful cast on. It's easy to do. You kind of get in a rhythm of it, and it gives a really nice finished result, as you can see here. Like and subscribe to get more how-tos, and come back and visit us soon. Thanks.